Welcome back. It's been a while.
Welcome back to you. You've
Yeah.
been gone.
Yeah. Well, it's holiday
Yep.
season, and hope everyone had a great holiday out there. It's 70 degrees in Phoenix. Perfect.
Just to rub it in a little bit.
Good for throwing
Yeah.
discs.
Been throwing quite a lot.
Eat, sleep, throw discs, repeat.
Work when you have to.
It's been wonderful. Yeah, well, there's work in there too, of course, but these holidays, this is probably going to come out hopefully on New Year's. So
Oh, fun. Okay.
Happy New Year's.
Yeah. To the listeners.
Happy 2024. Well, it may come out. It may come out Sunday. It just depends.
We'll see how the party goes.
We'll see how it goes. But we thought we'd do something a little different.
Yeah. Welcome to a very special episode.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever seen this done in the disc golf space.
I'm just going to go out there and say nobody's done this yet.
Okay.
Nobody's had as adventurous of an idea as this.
It's pretty funny. So what we thought we'd do is pair cervezas, pair beers with discs. And pairing the two together means a few things. It means the character of the beer sort of matches the character of the disc and the disc flight and everything else. It could be name related, that it fits a beer particularly well. What other
Well,
things?
there's factors of a beer that can align with a disc.
Right.
Something that is
Just like food.
it's easy to drink. This one's a pretty heavy hitting beer.
Right.
This is a heavy hitting disc.
Right. Thank you.
So that's
Yes.
where we were landing when we were stood there in the aisle shopping for beers, laughing our asses off. The owners of the store thought we were assholes, just completely in the way because we had taken up the whole counter with beers. Because so many of these things, it's just funny. So the reason why you chose this beer was because
It's my favorite morning hangover beer.
the morning hangover beer.
The morning hangover beer. But I use the regular Clamato, and they have some different flavors of Clamato. With usually it's usually like a Coors Light or some sort of light beer.
Okay.
And just a little shot of the Clamato, fill the beer into the mug, and two of those, I'm usually back on track.
Ready for the day.
Ready for the day.
And so this beer aligns with both the Berg and the Crave. And I had to agree with you after you painted the picture for me.
Well, the Berg is one of those discs where it's not going to do a lot. It flies straight. It's dependable. It's going to get the job done.
Yeah.
A red beer, to me, gets the job done
Yeah.
after a hard night.
And it's kind of slow moving, where the Chelada kind of
Right.
fills that morning after type of vibe.
Right. Exactly. It's hilarious. Isn't that hilarious?
Yes, that's
It's
very
kind
funny.
of like when it's in flight, it's just taking its time getting there. And it's just when you're having one of those hangover mornings, that's exactly how you're moving, right?
Yeah.
You're just you're moving, barely. And then the Crave, because it's so easy to throw.
Yeah, it
It's
is really easy, an easy disc to throw.
another thing that we're going to do with tonight is that we're going to pound these
We're
as
going to get hammered as we.
we go through
This is the first section.
the reviews.
God, if you make it to the fifth beer, God bless you.
Yeah. There you go.
Well,
Cheers to a good new year.
a good new
to
year.
2024.
It's been a good year. To you guys as well.
Ooh. Oh, that's fantastic.
I'm getting the glide, the
Yeah.
lack of glide in that for sure
Yeah.
from the Berg.
But then
Yeah, but a solid, smooth finish of the.
easy to throw, easy to drink, right? And what I've been told is the Clamato, the acidity of that takes out the sort of the bubbles in the beer, so you don't get all filled with.
Well, you don't feel the
Suds.
crisp finish of the carbonation either,
No, that's
like
what I
on
mean.
other beers.
So I mean, it knocks it out, which is great.
Yeah, so you could drink a little bit more of it.
Usually, if you need a beer, pick me up. I don't know if there's anything better than Clamato and a red beer. Kamado and a whatever your favorite beer is. Usually light pairs better, though. I will say that.
I always see people doing the Mick Ultras and the Coronas,
Oh,
the Bud Lights of the world.
man, that's fantastic. The player stuff that's happening right now, I think it's sort of interesting with some of the tour players going back and forth about, you shouldn't speculate where players are going because chances are you probably know where they're going if you're in certain positions. And, it's really no mystery that Eagles been put with this MVP
Yeah.
move.
Yeah, the rumors were out there, and then the big dogs of the community have basically said, well, we don't know he's going there, but he's basically
Yeah, they're not saying he's going to Legacy. They're not saying he's going to Discraft. It was pretty specific.
Yeah.
And it started with Foundation, and then the Nick and Matt show talked about it. And at that point, again, you're just, look, you guys know you're trying to be cool about it. I get it, but you're at the same time you're exposing it because you want to be the first to expose it.
It ruins the splash. Really, when you have an announcement like that, you want to capitalize on a big splash, a big announcement.
But it really goes back to, how is that getting leaked? Is it telling your buddy, or is it someone at the corporate office telling their buddy?
Mm-hmm.
But it's, either way, it's getting around.
Yeah.
Now we'll never know, but it's kind of too bad because it does look like that's reality. It's again, we're just guessing, but that's a reality based on the people who put out more content than anyone else consistently, Foundation, and if they're saying it, it's or beating around the bush with it. Yeah. It's not you're not hiding it well, guys.
Well,
It'd be really cool to get up that morning, having your coffee, flick on your YouTube or your computer, and there's this announcement from MVP with probably some pretty cool video like they did with Simon.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing. But we all knew that was coming before we saw the video, and that was kind of too bad. Now it's happened again. So
Yep. Yeah, so for anybody that's listening that's in a chair of position, hold your cards a little closer to your chest.
wow, it's crazy.
Why not have that secret and keep it to yourself?
Well, if it's someone from MVP, they should lose their job. On the flip side of that, we don't know what's happening with Gannon.
That's true.
And that's the next big piece of the puzzle.
We all want to know where Gannon's going.
At this point, right? He's
got to be leaving. I mean, there's been a lot of people announcing that they're not being with their current sponsor next year.
Right.
I think Gannon's been a little quiet.
He's been very quiet.
I think he said something about leaving Prodigy, though. I think I saw a social media post, but it was early on in the season ending.
Well, that's great that it isn't out there, and we are at the first of 2024.
Yeah.
And no one knows. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's good.
That's really good. That's the way it should be. Right.
Well done.
Well done. Well, let's get on to our next one, shall we?
We've got another beer to pour.
Cut.
Are we live?
We're live.
We're live with the Old Man Discs. And
so, of course, we pair it with the Old Man beer.
The Old Man beer, yeah. I mean, the Leopard is kind of one of the famous Old Man discs out there because it's easy to throw. Everybody grows up on it, and a lot of people bag one and then never take it out.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Leopard is famously one of the most popular fairway drivers ever made.
Yeah.
So
what was the other one that's paired?
That's the Jade.
The Jade, because it's an
easy throw-in.
That's a slow arm.
Slow arm stream, yeah.
Bomber.
Yeah. I threw one with like 20% power and got 350 with it. It was crazy.
It kind of is crazy how that flies. Happy New Year again.
My dad's had one in the bag for 4 years, 5 years.
Yeah. And he might have a Michelob Ultra at the end of the day.
Yes, it's actually his preferred beer of choice is the Michelob Ultra.
It is
just to solidify the selection here. I didn't make the selection. This was his idea.
Yeah, well.
The whole thing was actually it's a pair of beers and discs.
Yeah. It seems like a fun thing to do.
It's incredible. Why has nobody done this before?
I don't know. And I'm sure they can do it better. I know this is going to be sort of a rough cut for us, but at the same time, it's funny. It's meant to be funny. It's meant to put in your comments of what you think we should be pairing these things with.
Don't say bourbon.
Yeah, we're staying within the beer. We could certainly go into heavy liquor, liquors at another time. Tonight is not going to be that time. I can't speak to it, so I'd love to throw it though. You know me, I'm curious about everything. Oh, it's got a little dome on it.
Mm-hmm. That one's in particular a little bit lighter.
It's a 6-speed?
They call it a 6.
6.5 -2.1. Oh, I'd probably see. To me, that's like a Stig.
Kind of a Crave, kind of a Stig. Yeah.
Yeah. Crave, a Stig. I love my Stig. Tell you that much.
Yeah, everybody seems to like their Stig.
Wow. Yeah. A lot. It's a versatile disc.
Well, yeah, that's a disc that a lot of people should have in the bag.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
That shot shape.
And that cast of plastic. And if anyone's worried about us, we are taking Ubers.
We'll be responsible.
Yeah, very much so. We hope you all have a safe New Year's too. Yeah, enjoy kind of what we're up to. What else is going on in the world of disc golf?
There's a lot of people leaving Lone Star.
Yeah.
That's been a pretty hot topic.
Now, you and I have talked about these one-year contracts, and I've recommended that players not go that route, and this is exactly why. Because now, okay, here we are, a year later, and is it Emerson?
Emerson Keith, Chandler Kramer,
So
Lisa Fakis.
he spends a year playing with the discs. Now he's
Switch his whole bag out now.
back to doing whatever.
Just going to sell all your Lone Star now, and
they just have to find. I know that we're in our growing stages here, but we have to find sponsorship outside of disc golf. You can't depend on these manufacturers to flip the bill on everything. I mean, they're companies too, and they're vulnerable, and they're trying to grow. They're trying to be profitable, so they can't. Long-term contracts. Even though you might be one of the best players out there, if you're in the top 200 in the world, we want to see you play, but there just isn't the money there to put you in front of us. So you've got to hustle and figure out a way to do it yourself. Period. I don't know how else to say that.
No, that's really well put. And I've actually said that to several people since we've started this podcast about how we need to keep bringing money into the sport from outside the sport, because you're right. Everybody's leaning on the manufacturers.
Yeah, you can't.
And pressuring them every single day in every single way.
Right.
It sucks.
Right. They're not talking. You don't see any of the shows out there talking about sponsorships outside. I know they're getting, but it seems, even though it's not a disc manufacturer, it's something related to disc golf. So if it's T-shirts, if it's the Circle One type of thing, if it's the shoes, which we now know Craig's putting some sponsorships out there. And I think the rangefinder and stuff like that.
Bushnell.
Yeah, but still within the sport. I'd love to see other things come in, and I guess LWS would be a good one for. We saw that on some shirts last year.
Well, we've seen Merrill,
which is accounting, right? And
oh yeah, that's right.
Some other stuff.
Barbasol sponsors the Tour Championship.
Barbasol, great example.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
I really hope that they're seeing a return on investment. I made it a point to buy Barbasol shaving cream just for
well, they did, because they came back. But your point was, if they're going out and getting regional representation or regional dollars from a small business, and this is kind of a national sport, you look for those companies that maybe have some satellite businesses across the country, or some chains, whatever that might be. I still think it should be in the restaurant business. Like, you really should look at. I'm not saying Taco Bell, but certainly Subway or stuff like that. It makes sense. Chipotle makes sense. Those types of things make sense.
Yeah.
How do you get in front of the corporate office? Figure it out, or get your agents to do it.
Well, that's not really something that you see on golfers, though. Usually when they're wearing their shirt, they don't have a bunch of sponsors all over it. It's just Nike
Right, but
or Adidas
it got there. The sport is
made it.
500 years ahead of this one
Got it.
in
Okay.
terms of time,
Okay.
right?
Sure.
And it's prestige and it's, it's not snootiness and, the country clubbers, right?
Yeah, right.
There's a lot of Wall Street on the East Coast that plays golf. A lot of business is done on a golf course,
Sure.
right?
Yes.
That's what has to happen to disc golf.
Okay.
And then we'll get to that. But in the meantime, it's going to be more like NASCAR.
Okay. That's
where
okay. Yeah.
boop, 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 boop,
Bang,
boop.
bang,
You're gonna have
bang,
stuff.
bang.
Yeah.
Tattoo McDonald's on your forehead.
Quality versus quantity. I'm a big believer in that. But look, if you can get someone to throw some cash at you, jump on it. Jump on it.
Take advantage.
Yeah, and it's not you're not dependent. You don't have to change your bag out. You don't have to do all those crazy things. That's money. So
Good point.
Well,
I'm wondering how much of the income is actually coming from their Tour Series type discs, though, too. Like, I'm sure Nate Sexton is just wiping the floor, just completely mopping up with his Sexton Firebirds every year. I know Macbeth is absolutely killing it because he's getting a piece of his designed discs. The Athena, the Anna,
on top
the
of his
the
guaranteed.
Hades. Yes, on top of the guaranteed, he's got to be just crushing it.
Yeah, that would make sense. I like how they're making the investments back into disc golf with the throw down the mountain course. I think they're calling it Olympus now. Is that what I saw?
God, that really is on brand for Macbeth.
It's
a very Greek type.
Yeah. So it's very cool. And we saw obviously Cale LaVisca up in Minnesota. He's got his course.
Yep.
Seems to be thriving. And then I just heard that Nico announced that he's got 130 acres outside of Houston.
I heard something about that, yeah.
He's got the chainsaw out. And
Terry Miller's got a course in, what is it, the Philippines?
No, it's
Thailand?
Thailand.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know that he owns the property, but I think he owns the course and everything on the land. So, but I don't think he actually owns the land. It's every country's a little different on what you can and can't own, what the government owns, that type of thing, right?
Okay.
So I think you can own or lease the property and then own the things that are on the property and type of thing. He'd have to tell us. Terry, you can.
Yeah. Shoot us a text.
We know you're watching.
Yeah, appreciate you, buddy.
Very much so. Very, very much so. But yeah, so it's good to. I think it's with the intention of making these courses pay to play, which I'm a huge fan of. I think it has to get there. People, once they realize that they can go to a course that's going to have some upkeep, maintenance, baskets getting, changed out, pro shop, maybe a place to play some cards, meet with the guys.
The environment of that
Right.
versus your regular public course
Right.
is so far elevated.
Right. Well, let's get to the next one.
Next beers.
Boom.
So it was only appropriate that we paired the strongest beer with a buzz. And not just
I'm ready.
not just any beer. This is a Kentucky Breakfast Stout, which is specifically why we chose the Buzz. It's a Chris Dickerson Buzz.
Oh, good Lord. Look at that thing.
He's from Tennessee, though, if I remember correctly.
He is. That looks like coffee.
It's a kind of soup. This is 12% ABV. Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels.
Hence the pizza.
Yeah, to the Buzz.
To the Buzz.
I've already got one.
Oh, that's outstanding.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this. It's a yearly release that they do.
That is really good.
How
would you describe that for the viewers?
It's heavy. It's got kind of a coffee flavor to it. It's aged in bourbon barrels, so the liquor really comes through smooth. So you see there's no head on this. There's definitely carbonation, but it doesn't have a bite. Really easy to get drunk on one of these. If you have one of these to yourself, you're feeling pretty good. If you have two, you're going to go to bed early.
There's not many 12% out there that I think can taste that good.
For sure. Yeah, that's actually the dangerous part. Is it does go down pretty easy for a 12-per.
It's coffee. I don't.
They say maple syrup, but I never
Yeah,
really
that's
taste.
that's exactly what it was. It's a syrupy.
I don't really
aftertaste.
get much like sweetness
I do.
out of it.
I do. I did on that one. Maybe that's because I've got the slice of pie.
Yeah, sure. You got the salty and the sweet going.
I do. I'm living La Viva Loca right now.
I think I'll
But
grab a
how funny
slice.
is that to pair it with the buzz? I love that.
Nail on the head.
Excellent,
My cheeks are rosy.
excellent choice.
I think we got the most laughs out of that.
So,
That and the used bin beer.
what else is going on in the disc golf world we need to pair with?
We need to pair with our disc.
So this is a
selection
heavy beer. What's a heavy topic out there right now?
there. Add on.
A heavy topic could be like the transgender. I see that the transgender
Oh yeah,
is
that's right. So
green lit for next year. All the lawsuits are taken off.
the PDGA kind of feels like they gave up. They don't want to fight it anymore. I think they spent. They were quoted as spending. They've exhausted their legal funds for this issue, and they're not fighting it anymore. And man, I forgot all the women on my social media feeds were just broken about it, furious.
Move forward. Let's all figure this out together. It doesn't have to be. Yeah.
It feels like such a hostile environment, though.
it
The
is.
women are furious about it. A
It
lot
is.
of them have stood up on a stage and told the world that this is not okay.
Yeah. No one's saying that you can't be who you want to be. Is it fair when you've transitioned to something else from what you
We're
you know,
born as,
we're
right?
born as, and let's face it, as guys and as athletic guys, we have a huge advantage over women. I mean,
The hips
a
being narrower,
huge
the tendon
advantage.
strength, the
And-
muscle density. There's a lot that goes into the male development.
Right. You see it in sport, it's obvious. And a lot of people have argued in a lot of different ways about, there's age limitations, and the reason there's age limitations are divisions is that it's fair. So
Yes.
someone in my age group, it's not fair if I have to play against AB or Ricky Wysocki. I'm going to get my ass handed to me every time. But let me play against guys my age.
Yeah. Still play
wake
pro.
up with the same aches and pains as I do, right?
Yes.
And have to deal with that aspect. A younger body is much different than an older body, and a male body is much different than a female body. Period. So there's a huge advantage. I don't care if you transition, and no one's saying you can't be who you want to be, but it
Yeah, this isn't a fight against trans people.
there's two things there at play. You want to be that person, and that's fine, and no one's saying you can't be. But then at the same time, then you want to compete on this playing field that now that isn't fair. This is fine. Live your life, be the best person you can be. Over here, now you're starting to, that interferes with, girls don't have the same advantage as males do.
What it looks like is you are taking
Period.
advantage of a situation. You're going to make a paycheck in a sport.
I would root harder for Natalie if she was trying to do that in the male division. I would have the flag out for her.
Of course.
I really would. But trying to do it in the female division, I just feel like to that point, it's too big of an advantage.
There's science behind this.
Yes.
And to say that there isn't is just flat earthing it.
Right. Ooh, I like that. Flat Earth.
To say like, no, your facts are wrong.
Yeah, ignore the science. Yeah. And that's the thing. No one's saying you can't be who you want to be. But fair's fair.
No,
And
it's not a
it's-
fight against. It's
Right.
not an anti-trans thing. It's
Right.
It's just
At all.
pro-fairness thing.
Right.
Nobody
that's a
wants to
heavy
attack.
subject to
That is
go
a
with
pretty
you.
heavy subject.
Right?
God, a lot of people get in trouble for talking about it, and I mean,
Pairs well with this heavy drink.
it does. Yeah.
And this
Makes you
delicious
sweat a little
pizza. Hopefully I'm not chewing in everyone's ears. And we're having a light one tonight, guys. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah, we haven't hung out in a while, so this is kind of us hanging out with the crowd.
This is what got this whole thing started. You and I shooting the breeze.
Yeah.
That is outstanding.
It's a
If
great,
you've never had this beer and you like a heavier stout, that's worth the dollar there.
Founders has a lot of great stouts, so
Really?
you don't just have to get
Are they
the
national?
KBS.
Where are they out of?
They're out of Wisconsin.
Figures. All the good beers made in Wisconsin.
Not about all of it, but I mean,
You ever
This
had
is-
a spotted
I
cow?
have had a spotted cow.
I rest my case.
Chocolate and coffee aged in oak bourbon barrels.
Yeah, man.
Founders Brewing, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Close enough. You're a northerner.
This could get out of hand.
We're only 3 beers in.
This
You're-
could get
you're-
out of hand.
You're on your 3rd slice of pizza. I'm about to be on my 3rd after this.
Yeah, this is helping though.
Yeah.
This is helping.
Soak
so.
some of it up.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to save the rest
I
of
love
this
it.
for
All
tomorrow.
right, let's go to the next one.
Yep.
Mickey's.
So this one we chose for the overstables here. It felt appropriate to have the hard hitter.
The Mickey's malt liquor. Malt liquor paired with a Felon. Is that a Firebird?
Yep, Felon Firebird. The utility 9 speeds.
There you go.
Thank you.
I'd love to hear what everyone else in the comments believes each one of these beers could be paired with.
Yeah, please, if you have a comparison for us, I would love to hear.
Yeah. Don't slide too far over, whatever you do. Cheers.
To the malt liquor. Good timing for a pizza.
Oh, that's. I was expecting it to be heavier.
Yeah, my memory of Mickey's was not that. This tastes like the Mick Ultra.
Yeah. It's light. Well, we just drank a soup. Right?
Motor oil.
We just had motor oil. So, yeah, anything's probably going to taste a little light after that one. And you should have a Mickey's because they taste pretty good.
This is a lot better than I thought. I thought this was going to be miserable.
No,
I
that's
remember it being.
that's smooth as butter.
Yeah,
I mean, there is no aftertaste on Mickey's. This is unbelievably good.
really easy to drink.
Super easy to drink.
I was going to make fun of it because it says fine malt liquor, but it's got a pretty bad reputation of being like this heavy, gross.
I think you have
malty.
it mistaken with something else.
I might be. I might
I
have
do.
been thinking of a different malt liquor.
I think you've got it mistaken with something else. So something to wash that pizza down with? There you go.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
That'll get me there.
Number 4,
I'm going to sleep on that couch tonight.
no Uber. You're just not even going to make it to the Uber.
Nah, I'm going to bed right there. I'm going to put something on that TV. Probably disc golf.
That's
God,
fantastic.
Another good talk would be about watching old Jomez coverage. I've been going back as far as I can and watching old Jomez coverage of tournaments. It's an absolute joy. I don't know if it's nostalgia for me or
For sure.
what it is at this point, but like I just watched the Waco tournament with Nate Perkins and Simon Lizotte. This guy named Torres, I think his name was Chad Torres, Texas local. And who else was on the card? Another good player was on the card. So much fun to watch because I remember the first time I watched that coverage, I saw Nate Perkins miss a putt, and I was like, dude, I don't miss those putts. What the hell was that? And then later on in the round, he starts crushing it. I'm like, okay, that's why he's there. I'm fairly new to the sport, right? I don't know what I'm talking about, but like, then when he damn near cans 150-foot flex forehand, you're like, oh, well, that was impressive.
Yeah, he's. I know he's into the commentating now, but he was a decent player.
Mhm.
Just even a few short years ago, right?
Yep.
Is it just the players got better? This younger flux of talent sort of came in, and guys like him that were making a living doing it, all of a sudden were 10th place to 20th place to
Yeah.
on down.
Yeah. I mean, that could certainly be the case because a lot of players
Yeah.
were like him. You look at Brian Earhart, too.
Yeah.
You
Just
look at
tooling around making a living.
Nate Doss, 3-time world champion. He stopped playing a while ago. He was my favorite player once upon a time.
I kind of like his pop go.
Absolutely.
It was
His
something.
form was awesome.
Something, yeah, really, really nice form. Yeah, underrated form. I don't think it's ever talked about when they're throwing forms out there. You know, there's always seems like there's a handful of players that always sort of get talked about. And
yeah, like they have the higher exposure.
I think his form is worthy of talking about it compared to anyone, in my
I agree.
opinion. But I will say though, I look at Macbeth, and whenever I see him throw, it's like, oh, okay,
That's why you're so good.
yeah,
The fundamentals
yeah.
are spot on.
And we didn't get to see him like the second half of the year, and you're
Hurt his shoulder.
yeah, and it sounds like it's still sort of a mess, but
That's a tough injury to fix, man.
right,
I've hurt both of my shoulders, and man, it's not easy to get back on that
right.
horse.
So he's going for the cell injections, right?
Okay.
Stem cell injections, which rebuilds. Yeah, it's cool. The technology is very cool, and I'm sure he's getting the best advice. He's got the money to go out there and do the most radical, safe stuff he can.
Well, then he can physical therapy on top of it.
Right.
You're going to structure everything around
Right.
your injury to kind of support it and heal
Right.
it at the end of the day.
Yeah, and if it works, he didn't have to have the surgery because there's no guarantee surgeries get you where you.
Yes.
You know, there's no guarantee, and you're out a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so this makes a lot of sense to me that he would try this first. But there is no mistaking that form. Every now and then when he pops up on Jomez or whatever else that you might be watching too, it's like, oh boy,
Man, well, I need
that is silky.
to loop back to inclement weather. Macbeth is actually a great example of what to do in the rain.
Slows it down.
Slows it down. He throws
Yeah.
his Undertaker and his Buzz off the tee pad. Nothing more.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter if the hole's 500 feet. Throw your Buzz.
yeah, drop it down.
And he does so well at just changing his angle, changing his speed. Everything about that form is perfect.
Yeah, it really is.
It's actually what I've modeled my rain game after. Is
Yeah.
it's just watching him at, I think it was the GMC
Yeah,
or Throw Down the Mountain, one of the two.
yeah. No, it's something special. He's definitely got a gift. Definitely worked hard to get there because you see
Oh, yeah.
early footage of him. He isn't where he is now. That's
Correct.
for sure. He got there, which I think all of them sort of do, but he in particular, that is the gold standard.
Yep. The players didn't get
The
there
guy.
by accident, man. They earned it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm going to tell you, we can make a Mickey's commercial because that's a damn fine beer right there.
You know, if I were to be a professional disc golfer, I would go as far as to put Mickey's on my shirt, you know. I'd be happy representing that brand.
That's easy. I'm going to have to pick some up. I never would have guessed that.
I could drink that.
Easy. I actually prefer it over any of those ultras or whatever else.
Yeah, it's a bit smoother. And maybe that's why it's doesn't have the ABV on the can, which made me a little nervous.
It's got to be, though. We could have done the buzz for this one, too.
Shoot.
Look at that.
Well, this one was a bit of a mismatch. This is not a heavy hitting beer. The
No.
last beer was a little bit more appropriate for these two discs. The heavy and hard hitting discs.
And the Mickey could have been the buzz because there actually is a bumblebee on this.
'Cause there's a
Probably
bee
can't
on
see
it.
But there is a bee on it. I'll show you. And we'll go to the next one.
So this is both a beer and a disc close to my heart, and this is a disc close to your heart. So I think that's actually why we chose this beer for this slot. Stella is known as the champagne of beers, and in my opinion, the Escape is the champagne of discs. I use it off the tee pad more than any other disc. It's smooth.
You do.
It's crisp.
Different plastic blends, too.
Correct.
Right?
I bagged 3 Escapes. Sorry, did I short you?
No, but there you go. Cheers.
Got to tell you, that's a step down from the Mickeys.
Mickey's might be the champagne of beers.
What the hell happened? This world is so backwards.
Yeah, Stella's always had a little extra bite to it. That's Belgian, isn't it?
I think so.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Always really, really liked Stella.
Yeah, no, it's a great beer. It's a good beer if you're at a restaurant and you're going to have some higher end
Yeah.
meal. You want a beer. Stella's a good choice. But I picked the Essence because it's way smoother than that, though. There's no bite in it.
Wow. No
I
bite
think-
at all in the Essence, huh?
I think the Essence for Discmania is, I'm under 60 mile an hour arm speed, so as of today still. Get your disc away from your body. It's really easy to keep your disc in when you're loading back up like this. And now you got to go around your body. That's been a huge problem that I've fought from day one. You've got to get the disc out, so your elbow up almost, like you're gonna elbow someone.
Drive it.
Drive it. Get it to, as you're turning this way. So
Well, that's
that,
something when you watch the pros that they don't reach straight back. They place it away from them.
Right?
Oh, out in a
Right.
way, yes.
And a lot of them are like
Yep.
like that even.
Yep. Cocked to blow it up.
Well, not
they
just
pull
that,
through.
but this disc is in this position like
Yeah,
this.
that's definitely more of an advanced move. They all have kind of something different when they reach back. Like Montgomery actually is known
Proctor.
for kind of Proctor.
Like
Yeah, he's got a weird cock, man.
I haven't seen Jay Proctor's cock.
edit,
He's talking about his arm.
edit. It may have to stay in. I don't know. That might not hit the edit floor. That one. That's too good.
Leave it in. I'll own that. James Proctor.
But seriously though,
Sorry to throw you under the bus, pal.
he's not reaching back. He's not doing what Eagle's doing. He's got it into this position. He can't even keep it.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to get you to say it again.
He's got a weird
He's
cock.
got weird cock. Well, no. Happy New Year.
Oh my god. No, he's definitely got some weird positioning when he goes to pull through. It's very, very compact. He keeps it very together.
Yeah.
It's not a full pull like you see the Conrad and the Eagles where they're way outstretched to get as much acceleration on it as possible.
And both get the job done. So that's what's so curious to me about it, and what makes this game so interesting is that you see in golf now, these players that are all in the top 300 in the world, it's cookie cutter.
Yeah.
They look the same now, and it never used to be that way. Raymond Floyd Furyk had a different way of playing. You could identify him from halfway across the golf course because
Right.
that swing, that backswing was
Right.
just unique. And disc golf has that. You can be halfway across a disc golf course, and if Eagle's throwing, you're going to go, that's Eagle.
You know that's Eagle on the tee
Right?
pad. You know that's Barella.
It's Proctor.
Yep.
With the half cock.
That's right.
But that's what he's got. Allegedly.
Work with what you got.
Allegedly. No, it's great. But that's a great disc. The 8-speed Essence goes straight as an arrow. Likes to stay in the air. I don't know if it's like a 6.
It's very, very glidey, yeah.
Very glidey. But I've seen you throw escapes 400.
And they want to stay in the air too.
That's another one. It's really dependable.
They're great to shot shape with,
Yeah.
which is my favorite thing. To kind of thread needles because you know it's going to turn over, so it will behave pretty good on any which angle that you put it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And bagging the different plastics, naturally, they're one's more overstable than the other. The other one's the understable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Have you have you noticed that the Stella has gotten much better now?
yeah, after a couple sips, it goes down a lot easier.
Yeah. So
Something about
these
that.
discs now work perfectly for this beer, in my opinion.
Now it lives up to the beer,
Yeah.
or the beer lives up to the discs. I
Both.
should say.
Both.
Got it.
Yeah, for sure. It had because that's how smooth Mickey's was, but this just came at it from a.
Yeah. Now this is great.
It's great,
I
isn't
agree.
it?
Yeah.
My last sip was fantastic. I'll have another one
While
just to
we're,
make sure I'm on.
while we're here,
Yeah, that's a gosh, that's a good beer. That's a really good beer,
always been a fan of Stella.
and it's one of those where I don't know that you'd want 4 or 5. It's not one of those beers, but one. I used to always have one at certain, like if I just craved a beer and I was having a business dinner or something, I would always, that was a good choice.
Mm-hmm.
Heineken was another good choice. Without getting into the crafts,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah.
'Cause I certainly know there are people out there that are really, really educated on their craft beers. And
Well, I was
that's
with
not what this
stouts.
is about.
Yeah. Right. We're not here to be beer snobs. We're here to make comparisons that nobody else has done before, that probably don't really exist.
I think this will start a trend.
Because I'm throwing my
there's-
nuke with my Belgian IPA today.
well, yeah.
Here's my triple.
There's a lot of courses out east that seem to have breweries mixed with disc golf.
Yeah.
So I'd see the pairing being this could trend it. All right, champagne of beers, Stella, Escape, and Essence.
Yep. In the books.
Let us know what you guys think.
In this particular pairing, we're pairing a beautiful Bud Heavy with a Destroyer and an Envy. And your wording of it was Budweiser is the king of beers. Well, what's the king of discs?
Destroyer.
Yeah, Destroyer. Hands down. One of the most popular distance drivers of all time. One of
Right.
those popular discs of all time.
Hard to argue that.
Yeah.
And then I picked the Envy because to me it's the king of shots.
It is the king of shots. You
That
cannot
was-
argue how good.
That was the gutsiest. Oh, I just love James Conrad for that. James Conrad.
To James Conrad.
If he doesn't throw that, which he had every right to just take his place
Lay up.
on the podium,
Yep.
and he goes for it. To going for it.
Go for it.
2024.
Man, the king of shots. It's been said 100 times, but
Ooh, that's a good beer.
that moment in sports, I love Bud Heavy.
Wow.
I don't think enough people
Bud
realize how
Heavy?
good that
Why
is.
do you call Bud Heavy?
Budweiser, because then there's Bud Light. So there's Bud Light and then there's Bud Heavy.
Does Bud Light still exist?
Yeah, it's still around.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was
I wasn't sure.
no, they're where are they? They were at the store.
I was teasing. Budweiser. All right. I think it's hard to argue with this one. You can put your comments in there, but I think it's the king of shots and the king of discs.
Yeah.
And these disc sales have not suffered, so you could even say disc sales over the last few years, it's hard to outsell an Envy,
Yeah. Everybody wanted an Envy after that.
right? Maybe a Luna,
I even threw an Envy after that. And I'm not swayed easily.
right?
I think it was you that got me throwing an Envy.
Yeah. Yeah, the new guy on the block.
Mm-hmm.
They're fantastic. I have a house full of them.
God, it's a really torque resistant putter.
It really is, isn't it?
You don't meet many.
No, it's fun.
So the fact that it can handle any angle and all the power says a lot.
Yeah. No, it's fun. It's a fun disc to throw for sure. It's a good disc in competition because you just feel like it's all on you to throw that shot. The disc isn't going to let you down. The disc is going to do what it does.
It's
right?
rarely the arrow, is it? It's always the
In
archer.
that case. So whoever came up with that, Ed, up there in MVP, well done, guys.
Because the Envy is not a new disc. It's been around for a while.
Mm-hmm. What was the Ion there?
Ion was the first disc
Yeah,
MVP ever
okay.
made, yes. Good memory.
Yeah.
That one came out in 2000 and, was it 12?
I just know from a collector's perspective that really good Ions.
Old Ions
Got
are worth a
some
lot
value.
of money. Yep. I've had a few of the second and third runs and sold them for a decent amount of money.
Yeah.
They're worth a lot.
So if Eagle's going to be throwing MVP, we can assume that he's probably going to be in the Streamline family, because then that would complete the trifecta, right?
Conrad MVP, Simon Axiom, Eagle Streamline.
Boom.
That would be really smart.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
So in the Streamline family,
The Pilot.
the Pilot,
I wonder if you'd throw a Pilot.
I'm not a huge fan.
A lot of people really like it, though.
No, I know.
Variety.
I know it's popular.
Yeah.
I just haven't when it comes to an MB,
Sure.
and then I've got my Castoplast for
Yep.
my Ricos for putting, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
and throwing.
The
and I'm-
Rico's a great throwing putter.
Yeah, you're not going to get me off of that. So
I'm not going to try.
but he'll sway a lot of people if that's the direction he's going.
I mean, they had a lot of discs available before. This one came out in 2008.
Right.
They've been making discs since 1984
4.
was the Arrow.
Yeah.
The Innova Arrow. They had a lot of
Look at
discs
that.
before this one. The Stingray. I mean, the Wraith was before this one. The Firebird, the Valkyrie. I mean, this was the first ever 12-speed driver. It's the first ever high-speed driver. The 11, I mean, the Wraith they call an 11-speed, and it's kind of fair. It's slightly smaller than the Destroyer is on the rim width, but it was the first disc of its kind, and it really revolutionized the game. It really changed everything.
That's so cool.
Yep, players started throwing a hell of a lot farther.
King of discs.
The king of discs.
It is. Deserves the title. King of shots.
That there's not another disc that can contest that.
Right.
That was the most high pressure situation of all time for disc golf.
Yep.
And even other sports as well. That's a grand slam in the ninth inning when you're down by 3.
Because I really thought he missed that second shot. So he was lucky not to be in the water off the drive.
That's right.
And then he threw that, laid it up to get around the corner, but it was short of the corner.
And it looked
30,
like a
40
layup
feet?
shot. Everybody was convinced he was just playing for par there to keep his spot.
Right.
Not in his mind. We had no clue.
I played with someone the other day who was there and filmed it. Showed it to me on their camera.
Wow.
Yeah.
He had OG footage.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah. Very cool. All right. Next one.
So tell us about this pairing.
Well,
Because it only feels appropriate.
the White Claw hard seltzer is very popular with my wife and her best friend. This
Yeah.
is their summer drink at the pool. They love it. I'd say she's professional, and of all the offerings out there, from Truly to et cetera, on all these seltzers, they always come back to the White Claw. So I think it's the best. From her point of view, it's the best option in that division,
Yeah.
seltzers. And
And for this division of discs, I think it's the same route.
so
The best selection for this.
for this, which is we call it Lady Water. I call that Lady Water with
Yep.
misses.
Okay. Definitely Lady Water.
Yeah. So when they're at the pool, you want me to pick up some Lady Waters for you, that kind of thing. The Sail has obviously got a lot of turn on it. Diamond's got a lot of turn on it.
Easily the most popular beginner disc that I sell.
This is gonna be a hard one, my friend.
You're going to struggle with this one?
Yeah.
I'm
I struggle-
already enjoying it.
I struggle with Lady Waters.
Wow, and you went half a glass there.
Well, someone's got to get the job done.
I expected this to be pink.
No, they're all clear.
This is perfectly clear.
Black cherry.
This looks like water.
Cheers.
Gave me a lot more.
You're bigger.
It smells good. It smells like perfume. God, you're chugging it. Oh my God. I'm not wasting any time.
I've had a few. They're refreshing over ice. And if it is a 100-degree day, this is actually a better choice than beer. It's just hard to drink beer when it's that hot out.
Well, there's no sugar in this one. I'm looking at the contents right now.
Yeah.
It's only 3 grams for the whole can, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, those I'm telling you, those ladies know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's true. They're a little smarter than men, I think, at the end of the day.
No,
We're kind of
No.
Neanderthals.
no. When it comes to this, yes.
You're not going to concede that?
No way.
I'll concede that.
No way.
I'm a bit of a div.
Individually, yes. Some women are incredibly smart, much smarter than men, vice versa. Who cares?
Doesn't matter. We're all
Right.
people at the end of the day, right?
We're just
Got to take care of
We're
each
just-
other.
in pursuit of happiness.
That's right. fighting the same battles.
You bet. You bet.
Speaking of fighting battles too, like the ultimate decision for these two discs, what I recommend these two discs to a lot of first timers that come in the store, especially ladies, like the Diamond. That's going to be your best flying distance driver in the whole division of stores. Like you said, this is the best in its division. This is the best in its division. People will argue Leopard. People will argue Sidewinder. People will argue Impulse from these guys. The Diamond has the most positive reviews from new players and slower arm speeds. Everybody loves their Diamonds. My dad's had 5 in the bag for the last 7 years. And I don't think he's going to change anytime soon. He throws that Diamond crisp, clean, and far.
Wow. Yeah. So it's perfect. And the sail is wonderful. I lost my sail. I told you that, right?
They call it an 11 speed. I don't think it feels that fast.
Yeah, it feels more like a 10.
I think
Even
you
a
did tell
9.
me you lost your sail, but you've lost a couple discs lately.
Oh.
I'm really upset about that hatchet.
The hatchet I'm really upset about. But the sail is that I don't know. I picked it up at the Memorial last year. It was part of the players pack, but I was really pleasantly surprised with DGA. And then because I like that so much, I went out and bought the Pipeline.
Yeah.
And then the Bonsai, and all great discs. DGA makes great plastic. I really am a fan.
That Pipeline does feel pretty.
The Pipeline's solid.
And Dickerson's been throwing that Glow Bonsai he's had forever. He throws that like an absolute dream.
Yeah.
He carves the woods with it very, very well.
Yeah, it's it's got a big fade on it for me, but
The Bonsai does?
yes.
Yeah.
But there's a place in the bag for that, right?
It's supposed to be an overstable disc.
Right.
I think Dickerson's Glow Bonsai just is some kind of understable as
Right.
just crazy understable
Right.
run, because his is
Right.
pop up and glide.
And again, as you see us look past the camera here, there's a wall of discs behind you, and DGA and
Just like this one.
Discraft, DGA, Discmania,
Yeah, we got Lone Star Infinite over here.
Lone Star, Legacy,
Yep.
on and on.
I got a 50% off rack now too.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, did you see that? It's not labeled yet because
Well, then I wouldn't have seen it.
it slipped my mind a little bit.
Ah,
I'm only
to-do
realizing-
list tomorrow.
Exactly.
Well, I came in here today. This place was jamming
Yeah,
on my way to throw. It's good to
Very-
see.
very fortunate.
Yeah.
People support disc golf, man. Keep supporting disc golf. That's why we're all here. And if you're here, you're really supporting disc golf. That's all we talk about. We only just introduced beer this episode.
So true. Really appreciate the 50, 60 guys that are,
Really make it a point to listen. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a
and
pretty
or women.
consistent 50.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll get there. They'll tell their friends how cool we are for drinking White Claw on camera.
Yeah, we're biting the bullet for you.
We're
At least I
muscling
am
this
on
down,
this one.
man.
Oh,
Look at how much went.
oh, good job.
Yep.
Well, you needed the hydration.
On my way.
Oh,
Really need to pee.
okay. Yeah. There's the TMI. We could have put the zombie out as the last one coming up. I see that over there in Discraft Zombie. That might be appropriate at the very end of this.
Yeah, because we'll both be just like
There'll be nothing left in the tank.
liquor heads.
Yeah. Yeah. What else in disc golf? Anything else on the sale? Well, we have Katrina Allen does her signature disc.
I believe her tour series was the sale. Yeah.
We haven't heard much from her,
No.
right? She doesn't really have a YouTube presence, and haven't seen her out in Phoenix.
I've seen some of her social media stuff. She's been going to football games and doing regular off-season things that
Oh,
disc
okay.
golfers do.
Where does she live?
Well, she lives here. She's from South Dakota, but she lives here in the off-season.
I haven't seen her.
I haven't either. Usually, she does some stuff for Christmas, and like she ran a Christmas doubles a couple of years ago at Kano. That was really fun. Yeah, I don't know what she's doing now.
Probably just taking a little time off.
Yeah,
Sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you got to clear the head.
whatever helps you focus on your game at the end of the day.
Yeah. I don't recommend that if you're coming up in the sport, but if you're a veteran, obviously, yeah, you get that privilege
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Timing and focus. Rick doesn't throw a disc in the off season hardly at all. So
Yeah.
there's definitely something to that. Everybody's got to find their mojo.
Yeah.
You know, hit the gym, diet. You're a professional athlete at the end of the day.
Yeah. I'll throw some extra content in there. We met Ricky out at one of the courses here in Phoenix.
It's the best course in the Phoenix metro
Yeah.
area.
We won't mention it because it's sort of a private place,
We're
but
not really allowed to play it.
it's it was good to see him out. So I'll show you some shots of the guys. We got some of Fern, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
Fern's like a 930, 940
He's a
player.
good player. You
Dude.
can tell when he throws the disc. He knows what he's doing.
He got loosened up and started bombing them.
Oh, I bet he did. He's a big boy.
We got on it was a par 4. It is 594 feet and trees the whole way through. It's impossible to get to the basket from the tee box.
Yeah.
And it's a little dog leg left. And we all throw up there in positions to be able to
Mm-hmm.
put it close to get the birdie. That's the idea. Ricky gets up and he's got a prototype.
It looks like a Raider, but it's an Orbit Supreme something or another.
Yeah.
No name to it yet.
Yeah. And he had never thrown it before. But he just from being who he is,
Yeah.
I don't know if I have the video. If I have the video of it, I will, and I'm sorry if I don't. But he throws it. It lands on as a roller, but it lands on this really
Is it pretty steep?
super severe angle. So it's like when it lands, it doesn't land like that. It lands like that.
Like at a
And I
30.
thought for sure it would just turn and burn, but it didn't. It ran like this and then went the whole dog leg on that angle, and he
It stayed left?
ends up being parked, and that's hole number 2.
That's one of my favorite holes on the course.
It's the best hole on the course.
That's incredible.
He's 10 feet.
What?
Yeah,
For the Eagle?
for the eagle. I couldn't believe it. He
On
was
like a
laughing
30
the whole way up the fairway, as was I. But I was
He
more in
was.
like awe of the fact that he had never thrown the disc, and
Yep.
2, it did exactly what he thought it would do.
Yeah.
I don't know to that extreme, but it was perfect,
Well, that's something.
and that's what was so funny.
Yeah, that's hysterical.
Yeah. So
That's what
I hope I have the video to throw in right now.
Yeah.
If I don't have it, then I'll throw something else in from that. Maybe a few throws of Fern, because we
Yeah.
always see Fern on the bag. We never see
Right.
him throwing. So
Doesn't get enough appreciation as a disc golfer.
he's great company too.
Yeah, he is.
It was a good group. Brooks was out there, and
We had a pretty good crew.
yeah, there's a couple of tour pros. I had no business being in this group, but I was. It was great.
We ended up getting split up. I was on the other card.
Yeah, you were with some great players too.
Oh, yeah. We had a good time.
It was really fun. Look at Fern. Brooks.
What's up?
Dude's making it look easy. Oh yeah, look at that.
I think they were a little
Ricky's debut since the tour championship. This is big day.
Yes, sir.
The man, he's out. Arizona, 78 degrees today. He's wearing black.
78. Good day for black. It's just 63 in the car.
Yeah,
It's
Right.
not. It's not 78.
It's not cold enough. That's for sure. Give me an edge with my thick skin.
Reed glitch.
I love it.
Let's go.
Good shot.
Cap Crush.
Yeah, seriously, not
Dude,
crush.
that,
Yeah.
that disc is.
Captain
Fern,
Crunch
do it
that
again.
day.
I didn't get it.
Didn't you?
Uh-uh.
That was solid.
Wrong bass. So good, dude.
That was salt in the wound. Oh,
That's so good.
that's a
What the heck?
It's
No.
so good.
No way. No way. That's parked.
Keep going.
Oh, it never came
Oh.
back. What the heck?
Oh,
Dude, what the- I thought it was gonna
582
flip
parked.
back over. parked.
Parked.
I thought I killed the distance. I know, not that road.
Oh.
Get in, get in.
Put it in here.
Scrub lock. There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you can backhand it in there.
Yeah, I'll throw forehand. Not that far. Which side? Left side of the
Rough, though. You gotta, it's like the trees will knock you
left side
down,
of the
maybe.
post? Yeah.
Oh! Shot, Rick.
Thanks. I did, yeah. My first forehand. 3 months. It's funny how when like forehand, if you don't like, it's the hardest thing to like do on a without throwing it much.
Yeah.
Shot.
You lose it. I lose it in
Whereas
my...
backhand so much, like I can just pick up backhand, no problem.
To me, it's... I will never lose it.
Yeah.
God.
There you go.
Big
Good
shit.
shot. Get in. Nice shot. So I'll do this backhand. Yeah. James Conrad forehand.
I'm not practicing. I can't work on my speed.
Really?
I don't know where it's going.
Right.
Yeah. Like, go 9 speed on down.
Right. For sure. He'll throw backhand too. Wouldn't like it. There you go. Oh.
I'm sparing everyone with the bites of pizza in between.
You're taking bites off camera
I have
and
to.
then rushing back to the.
Big wave.
This comparison is sheerly naming. Not saying that it's a bad beer or a bad disc in any way. I'm sure. I mean, I've had a big wave before. I couldn't, from memory.
Both are really smooth discs, easy to throw.
Yeah.
Tons of distance, easy distance with the wave.
Yep.
And super dependable. We just talked about the pipeline.
Yeah, we were talking about the pipeline.
Great 8-speed. I don't know if it's 1-1 on the turn fade,
I
but
want to say it's 0-2.
oh, is it? It feels to me like it's
8502.
Oh wow. Well,
But flight numbers are almost always liars, anyways.
I've beaten mine in enough then that it my pipeline has a little give. It almost it's like a river but a little faster. That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Beautiful disc, great plastic.
It feels fantastic.
DGA is a great. I think they make good discs.
Yeah, I think they're doing a good job. I think they're really an underrated company because the Squall is actually a disc that I've thrown for a long time just to squirrel away already.
I like the
Haven't even
names
gotten the
too.
beer in the glass yet. I wonder how they come up with their names because Pipeline is just perfect for the big wave.
Yeah.
That only adds up.
Well, they're out of California, so there's obviously they're all water related, right? So Bonsai Pipeline is a surf in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Pipeline is a surf in Hawaii.
Well, but then they have the Avalanche. That's their new disc. So
Yeah, it
that
has nothing to do with
goes
Hawaii.
to the mountains.
Yeah. Right, but that's California.
But what is a Squall? What's a Squall?
Squall is isn't that an ocean weather something or other? You get a squall like when you're sailing and you come into a squall, which is usually wind and
That
rain.
sounds very correct, but I know nothing, so
Yeah.
I have no frame of reference here.
Well, I don't know what classifies a squall, but I'm pretty sure it's weather related,
What about the quake?
earthquake related.
Yep.
California,
Yep, that's a California thing. They
Yeah.
love their earthquakes.
sail, California, water.
They used to have the Reef. They don't make that anymore.
Again, ocean.
Yep, I think that was a Discraft magnet, very similar to the Reef.
That's cool. I don't know what the Vortex. Cheers. We've got Vortexes up in Sedona.
Yeah,
So we're pairing the big wave from Kona, Hawaii to the Wave and the Pipeline, which is perfect. I mean, it's Pipeline is in
Yes.
Hawaii, so
Yes, the name is all across the board perfect. This has a lot more bite to it than I remember.
oh really?
Got a real edge to it.
I go to Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers. This is my draft beer right there.
I gotta say that's the worst name for a restaurant ever. I think.
Yeah.
Okay, we talked
But the
about
beers
this.
are cold.
They better be.
They better
It's
be.
in the title.
And I think that is pressure they put on themselves and they deliver. Because who doesn't want that when they're going in? You're always worried about, is that beer going to be just that right temperature?
Crisp and cold.
Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers, I'll give them that much credit. I think they're overpriced
Okay.
on everything.
It's
Um,
a bit of a shout out,
but their beers are cold, ice cold. So, Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers. There's only a few of them here in the valley. I don't think there's.
they're around.
I don't know if they're outside the state as well. I was trying to say.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, that's a good beer.
It's
That
good.
is a really good beer, isn't it?
You're into it. I'm not a huge fan.
Really?
Yeah.
What would you say it is? It's not a pale ale. It's not.
Well, it's got a real body. They call it a golden ale. It's got a real body
Is it a golden
of
ale?
flavor
Yeah.
to it. It's got a really pungent flavor. It's almost like an IPA without the real bitterness of like the hops.
I like it. I think it's not as heavy as our breakfast one that we had, and it's
Not
not as
much as heavy
smooth
as
as
that.
Mickey's. It is somewhere in between all of that, but there is definitely it's got a little bite.
It's got a lot of flavor.
It's a
It's
ton
very-
of flavor.
I think it's kind of unique.
Yeah, no, it's a great beer. Yeah, great beer.
Liquid Aloha, they call it. That's good branding.
That's the best part about when you start something up. You come up with your marketing ideas. What's your tagline going to be?
Mhm.
And that's a good one.
That is a good one.
That's a good one.
Ours is disc all day.
Is that what it is for the store?
Yeah.
Disc all day.
And do you know why? It's because right here on this wall was actually painted vape all day from the store that was here before.
Oh,
We had to paint over it.
disc
were
all
like-
day.
Disc all day? Should we just leave it?
Vape all day. Probably not the best. I would say you're healthier disking all day.
Yeah.
Um,
Massively so.
So Disc Mania
Mhm.
is reinvent your game.
Reinvent your game.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
I think it says it right over the shield there, but I can't read it from here.
Isn't it reinvent
I
your
think
game?
it says reinvent your game.
Wasn't everyone saying when Simon left that he was reinventing his game? It was one of those things.
You gotta love disc golfers for the old trash talk.
So what is Discraft's tag?
Um,
I'm putting you on the spot here.
God, and I've heard it too, but I don't remember it.
So not that great of a tag.
Yeah, it didn't stick in the memory, that's for sure. I know
Does-
dynamics. Be dynamic.
Be dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not bad.
Don't ask me legacies. Don't point over there.
Well, no, I was pointing at Lone Star, which is, do they have one?
I don't know. I don't think so.
1 year?
I've seen-
That should be theirs.
Home with a 1-year contract.
1 year?
We don't care about you enough to give you 2.
We don't know that, but we're recommending that players don't do 1 years.
Correct. And I just-
MVP? You knew it was coming.
It's throw gyro,
That's their tag?
something like that.
No.
Yeah, it's something like that.
No.
Throw gyro.
That's too nerdy, you guys. You can't have throw
They
gyro.
are nerdy. Look at them.
I know, but it's too nerdy. You gotta change that. What's Innova? I always think innovation is just so great.
Yeah, that is.
It's a great name. I mean, kudos just on the name. They could run, but I don't know. Do they have one?
I don't know Innovas.
Infinite.
This
Throw
is
what
a
you
good-
love.
Is that what their tagline is? Throw what you love?
Hmm.
Nice.
I like it too.
This is a good hot seat to be in because I don't know. I don't remember a lot. I don't remember most things.
But that's sort of the, you're someone that's in this day and night,
Right.
and if the tagline isn't right there, then they need to step up their tagline.
Yeah, and really push it, right?
Right.
Kind of market off of it. That's why it's there.
When they're sending you thousands of dollars worth of discs, there should be a banner in there with the name of the company and the tag.
Castablast is good.
What is it?
Let's Castblast.
Okay, it's easy.
It's badass. It's on some of their apparel, and
I've seen you wear the sweatshirt,
Yeah.
and I've been pretty jealous of that.
it's my favorite sweatshirt.
So, Be Dynamic, I got it. All right, well, that was good. Big Wave,
It's a good beer for good discs.
it's a great beer. Drink it cold, 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 cold. Colder the better on Big Wave.
Yeah, my fridge is not that cold, I don't think. No.
And yeah, it's also a beer that'll get the job done. So if you need a little attitude adjustment, Big Wave is
That'll flip the switch, huh?
right on the list. That's it? You got nothing?
Nope.
We got like 6 more. I'm not losing you.
Fuck.
It's good, huh?
It is good. Well, I just got a lot of beer left, too.
Got to put your big boy pants on tonight. Next. Here we go, here we go, here we go.
So we got the workhorses along with the workhorse beer.
I think this is a good pairing.
I think so, too. I think it's very, very accurate. Very, very fitting.
It's an old staple. It's been around like my dad.
They won.
And then it sort of went away for a while. And then your generation was like, whoa, what's going on with Pabst Blue Ribbon?
They won a blue ribbon once upon a time. We should drink that.
Yeah.
I think that's what we all said.
And it was probably pretty affordable in the beer rack.
It still is. They won a blue ribbon in like 1887. Sorry, 1893.
Cheers
To the working man
to the working man.
and the
to
working
the working
discs.
And these are good working discs.
These
right
are the working discs.
That's
Couple of
ooh, that's good.
it's easy to drink. I like Pabst.
Ooh,
It's got a bad rap, but it's good.
how's that a bad rap? It's delicious. That's a great beer.
Yeah, I don't know who gives it a bad rap. If you give Pabst a bad rap, you're wrong.
Yeah. No. My taste buds are all on tonight. I'm telling you. That is a solid beer. Look at the coloring. It's golden.
Like a beer should be. It's almost as good as Mickey's. Never thought I'd say that.
So you picked the Pyro, I picked the Zone.
Yep.
To me, the Zone is absolutely my workhorse when I am in trouble, getting out of trouble. If I throw a forehand within 250 feet, I love that disc.
Something you can rely on to
I
get,
can totally rely on that
Yeah.
disc.
get
Yeah,
you in the circle.
and I've got the Jawbreaker one in my bag. I've got a couple Jawbreakers, and I just like the way. Excuse me. I like the way.
No, we're at that stage of
we are.
beers
We are
later.
now. We are. But I like the way it reacts on the ground. I can count on it not hitting hard and rolling away or doing those.
Sticking and staying
It
put.
does. It does.
Good.
Here in the desert because we have hard ground here.
Yeah,
So
rollaways are a very real concern here.
Jawbreakers are that plastic is perfect
Good.
for that shot because it's always coming in hot too.
Well, it beats up to be more like a mid-range.
It does.
So it travels a little bit farther. You said 250. That's, for most zone throwers, they think that's crazy, but like, it's kind of a mid-range after it beats
So
up.
they're over 350. Is that what you're saying?
No. Most zone throwers are using it as chip shots from 100 feet.
Oh, not me.
Yeah,
No, I lean on that thing.
right.
Yeah, no, it's great. It comes in hot into everything, but because of that Jawbreaker plastic, it just
Dies.
dies.
Love that.
I can count on it.
That's what you want out of your disc.
Yeah, I can-
especially for up shots.
Count on that turning too.
Aim it at the basket.
Yeah, it's got a lot more push now that it's mine's. I've got a couple of them, but the one's a year old. I can count on that pushing more. The other, I know it's gonna.
Good. Yeah, a little fresher, right?
Right. Exactly.
Handles the torque.
So that was my reason for picking the Workman Pabst Blue Ribbon Zone.
Well, why I picked this is because I know a lot of people use it for a lot of different shots. Between forehand, backhand, upshot, rollers. They use it for a lot of different things. So it is kind of a workhorse in the bag. When they have a specific position on the course in the fairway, they reach for the pyro.
Okay. I've never reached for the pyro.
Do you throw a pyro?
No.
Oh, well, that's why.
Yeah.
Maybe if you had one, you'd reach for it.
No, but I like what you're saying, though. I mean, I haven't even considered that spot.
Well,
in the
what
bag.
is your overstable mid-range?
Uh,
Do you have one?
I've got a Chameleon Warship
Okay.
that I can count on doing that.
So I'll say
I've got a
it's-
couple of buzzes I can count on doing that,
Mhm. I'll say those are overstable discs,
and
but
I've got
not as overstable as this one.
I've got an MD I can count on doing that.
Okay.
I can keep going. I have about 40. of
Wow,
them.
you've got those. You got 40 overstable mids.
No, I've got about 40 mids, but I've got 5 of them that are really overstable.
I always bag an anvil. That's kind of my slot for this. Although I think the anvil's an exaggerated version of this. The anvil's more like a deflector where it's stupidly overstable.
Yeah.
This is not as crazy overstable, but it's
Yeah.
overstable enough to handle wind.
Yeah.
Which is why people really like it for just using it instead of like a Justice or Deflector or Bobcat or any of the other like the Quake,
Well,
the crazy overstables. Still reliable, still overstable, usable in all conditions.
a workman's disc.
That's a working disc, man.
Yeah. And it's going to be work to finish this Pabst because it's changed its flavor in the last 3 sips.
As it gets warmer, it gets a little harder to drink. We haven't been here for long, but I mean, it doesn't help that my stomach is full.
Not bad. I highly recommend a bite of pizza prior to sitting down.
I'm gonna have
I think that changes your attitude towards the
the next beer.
hops. No, I do. I just do.
Yeah, it's a good compliment. Just like the discs.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that.
Do they need a prodigy rep in Arizona? Someone to come out here and really spend some time with people? Because it does seem like Discmania, or not Discmania, but Discraft, because of Spinners on the Green.
Yep.
This big Discraft store, right?
Right. Well, Bob Julio comes here himself every year for the memorial and helps with the big drops. There's always drops for the memorial.
Okay. And obviously you're Dynamic Disc Phoenix, so you've got Trilogy up the wazoo, and a good amount of it, and
Yep.
and a great selection of stuff. You're obviously heavy on MVP, although that's crushing it.
It's pretty light right now.
I'm telling you, it would be great to have a time lapse in here and just watch these things ebb and flow with you, filling them and selling them. It's pretty cool.
It would be really cool to do a time lapse.
Yeah, you might have to think about that.
Just a month-long time lapse would look insane.
Yeah, it really would. It really would. The sport is in a good place. We've just got to keep it on this trajectory. It's really important that we do. This silly content isn't going to be a factor in that. And if you're hanging out with us on New Year's doing this, well, cheers. But yeah, we'll get back to being more serious next week. This was just about thanking you for finding us, right?
Yeah, we're just kind of partying tonight.
Hanging out, enjoying a pre-New Year's, and pairing beers with discs, right? That's fun. That's hilarious.
Maybe we'll get to do it on the course one day.
That's hilarious.
Well, we got our Pabst Blue Ribbon out to pair with our EMAC Truth here.
Yeah, that's about all I can do at Pabst, though.
Yeah,
Shall we?
I can tap out.
In my day, a Heineken was celebrated as a pinnacle. You've reached it. You got there.
Oh, wow.
Enjoy
Okay.
a Heineken.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. There's a good day, have a steak, have a Heineken.
Ah.
It's kind of You know,
A reward.
a reward. Heineken was like it felt that way, and they marketed it, I think, that way. Like it was a premier beer meant for celebration, meant for the finer things in life type of thing, even though it's a beer, right? So we paired it with,
Time lapse.
because who's loving life more than that guy right now?
Can't name few.
Seriously.
Yeah. He got a crazy good deal. He's happy. He's still making content.
He's winning tournaments.
Yeah, he's still winning.
Still winning. I think he's winning more, isn't he? Than he ever has?
It's so strange. He went through such a process of
He
getting
matured.
injured, coming back after his injury, not able to throw the same style that he used to winning tournaments, playing smarter all of a sudden,
Yeah.
to switching companies and rediscovering his game that way. What an evolution that is.
Yeah. Deserves a Heineken.
That deserves a Heineken.
So that was sort of right in their marketing mantra.
Congratulations, Simon.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
That's a really nice beer.
That's a smooth beer.
I could drink a couple of those.
Yeah, that's a smooth beer. And then we brought Mr. Smooth himself,
Had to put the Luna out there.
right?
We had a couple choices for Macbeth discs, but the Luna felt the most appropriate.
Right?
Name
I mean-
of the game is putting, and that boy's good.
I mean, you can go back and watch his tournament victories, and the putts that he makes are ridiculous.
Yes, it's stupid when
We all know, even a 20-footer isn't a gimme.
No.
He makes it look like a gimme.
yeah.
When he's dialed, I
Point
mean,
and click.
he's got that slow,
Yeah, I really like that reach and boom, bang.
like he's keeping it where he wants. He's not forcing anything. It's
Very
I
calculated.
think that's really, if you've never slowed your putt down, exaggerate it to the extreme and then find that comfort zone the way he does, and I think you'll putt better. I really do. I think you'll find where that sort of that release is.
I agree,
Easier.
because that just comes down to fundamentals.
Yeah.
And figuring out
Yeah.
the preciseness and the smoothness of what you're supposed to be doing,
Right.
and what the disc is supposed to do in the flight,
Right.
and making it do it.
Right. I always find if I'm missing putts left, right, I'll just slow it down, and
Yeah,
it seems to dial it right back in. For me, it's adjusting my foot. Like I sometimes tend to open up to the
Okay.
basket too
yeah,
much,
Yeah.
and then I miss right,
Huh.
and I'll close myself more to the basket, and I'm dead on when I release.
and
Now
that's
everyone's going to be different, but that's
Yes.
how I found it.
Well, and I'm finding that feet. I never really focused on the feet before this year of where
Really?
yeah, what my foot is actually doing. I usually just point my toe right at the basket and call it a day.
It's
But
fun to
now-
move your toe not on the basket, move it over to the left side of the basket.
Kind of cant it
Yes.
a little bit
Yes.
outside of it, and for
And
a
you'll
righty,
have you can give it a little more.
well, yeah, because you kind of open up your hips a little bit.
No,
And your
opposite.
torso.
Opposite for me.
Well,
I-
you're
I'm-
canting your foot in, so you're kind of closing your hip off this way.
Closing. Yes. Not opening.
Sorry, yeah. So you're not opening it. Yep,
Right.
Yep. Got it. Okay, I was just backwards.
Yep. But that was what did it for me, because I couldn't figure out why I'm doing this. Well, they're all pointing at
But
the
your
target.
release point is over here.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you move this way, right?
Yep.
That now your hips are a little bit more closed. Now they're not opening up as you throw it. There's a lot of room when you're facing the target for your hand to go
Yeah.
however it wants to go.
correct.
But when you turn it, it's more limited on,
To your natural throw,
Right.
like on a drive.
like on a drive.
That's awesome
Exactly.
because I've actually done that naturally from putting in here.
I think that's just
Keep
my
moving my
experience.
foot over because it keeps everything in line all of a
Yes.
sudden.
Yes, you're a great putter.
That's amazing.
So You can tell everyone you went to Ricky's place and took him down in the backyard with the putting.
It was like a silly little some app that he was promoting for a commercial. We had to film in his backyard, and I did beat him at a CTP. I'll take pride in that.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's many putters in the world better than him.
Yeah, you want to rematch?
Maybe
Ricky
this guy.
anytime, any place, dude.
Maybe.
Which one, Macbeth?
I don't know.
You too, Macbeth. You want time and place, dude.
Yeah, right. But they are, in my opinion, 1 and 2. There isn't even any gray. I have a hard time thinking who would be number 3.
There's a lot of-
Marweed, but Marweed doesn't win the same way. I know his stats are through the roof, but you still have to win. You know what I mean? And he wins some tournament. He won some smaller ones here, some A stuff here, but last year he won Shelly Sharp. Yeah.
And there's a lot of great putters. Adam Hammes put down one of the best displays of putting of all time. Still of all time.
That putt in Oregon.
Oh, I was talking about in Georgia
Oh,
at the Ed Hendrick Hall of Fame. I want to say it was 2018 time frame. It was disgusting. The kid could not miss 70 feet canning putts.
well.
It was incredible. I still rewatch that footage just to keep it fresh in my mind because of how incredible it was.
Yeah. We should find that footage and throw some of it up.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's on
That's
Joe
cool.
Miz.
That's cool. I was saying last year in 2023, because we're kind of rounding out the year here.
Yeah.
He beat Goose. Goose had to get up and down to win on 18 at,
My tournament?
was it
Different
the
one.
Portland? Was it Portland? No, it wasn't Portland. It was, well, which one did Hammes win last year?
Hammes won. He won a big tournament.
Yeah, it was early in the year. Hammes threw a terrible upshot, and he had to birdie it.
Mm-hmm.
So he had, I don't know, a 50-footer, and he made it. It was unbelievable. Uphill, elevated
Yeah.
basket, uphill, made it.
He's capable.
Now, all Goose has to do is go up and down. And he had an easy little, it was like 100 and maybe 50.
Just a little chip shot.
It was
huh?
a chip shot.
Okay.
And a little backhand because he had some ceiling there. Would have been perfect. He could have just sort of skipped it up there and then
Yeah.
just had a, but he elected to go forehand and he threw it in the ground.
He leans on that forehand.
He threw it in the ground. And now he had this long putt at which he missed.
Dang.
We went to a playoff. Hammes won.
Wow. What a dramatic finish.
Which one was that? It was definitely in the Northwest. So my apologies, but
Oh man, it sounds like
I'm 7 in or 8 in. I don't know what it is.
we've lost track. We've completely
But
lost.
that was a to your point. Hammes can putt.
Yeah, that boy can putt.
He really can, and he can throw it a country mile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that helps too.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him win again next year, or maybe even 2.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of work he's put in the off season. What he's actually doing. I think I saw a picture of him with some dead fish. I know that's one of his hobbies is fishing.
He's from Wisconsin, isn't he, or Michigan?
Wisconsin.
Well, you're going to fish.
Yeah.
Good for him. That is
Give me a couple weeks and I'll have it ready.
so cool. It's
Very
red.
domey.
It's red, white, and gray. Solid gray. Oh my God, and it feels amazing. That is an MVP home run.
Yes. Well, for both of them.
Yeah.
It was a home run that they got Simon in the first place, and to let him have any kind of creation rights, genius. That was a play that I think Discraft really had the best play, had the original play in, because they let Macbeth develop. They said, "What do you want?" And he said, "Well, I want a destroyer. Give me the Kong." It was a Kong back in the day. It's a Zeus now. That was kind of the original Macbeth disc. They developed the Luna, the Hades, the Annex, the Athena, the Malta, and there's probably another one in there that I'm missing.
but they let him develop all these discs because give the guy what he wants. He's one of the best disc golfers of all time.
Right.
Of
Right.
course, he should be inventing the disc.
Right.
That's genius.
Or having
Having a say in how they're made, yeah.
yeah, you get your ego out of the way and let's run the business, right? And as much as you think you can create the next great disc, chances are the guy who throws them as well as anyone in the world, right?
Probably knows a thing or two.
Yeah, let's listen to what he has to say. So good on them.
Yep.
Yeah, so do you really want to play an all-star game in the middle of the year? No. It's at the beginning of the year or the end of the year or somewhere in there. So I don't know. In hindsight, it's probably the best it's at the beginning.
Yeah, maybe.
It is.
I could see it doing away with it because I don't really
Does it
find
matter?
it that entertaining.
Yeah,
There's nothing on the line. It's just these guys kind of throwing some
I'm with
discs.
you.
Whatever.
I'm with you.
It was in Tucson, which was kind of cool
You don't need to have an all-star.
for us, but
Get
even
rid of the
then,
all-star. Heineken.
Tiny.
All right, bud.
There we go.
I think we've only got one or two left.
We've got 5 beers left.
No, we don't.
So the pairing here. The pairing we're looking at here is discs for everybody. Kind of goes along with the beer that's for everybody.
Male, female, fruit,
Old, young.
with fruit, no fruit. It's just a must-have, or it blends with everything. So I chose a river because a river is an absolute can't miss in a 7-speed.
I
It is-
agree, and that really is a disc for everybody.
It's dependable. Everyone knows what a river is, and I think it pairs well with. Cheers. Blue Moon. This is going to taste way off compared to what we've been.
It's much heavier, although it's still nice and fruity. That weren't even meant to be funny.
Nice and fruity.
Well, I have to agree with your pick a lot more than I agree with my pick. My pick was the Grace for this one, and I think it is a great disc, but it's not necessarily for everybody.
Mm.
The Grace is awesome. It's the best Wraith since a Wraith.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like the way you put that.
Well, because everybody's been trying to emulate the Wraith for a long, long time. It's like a sneaky distance driver that goes really far.
Okay.
And lots of people have that disc. Lots of manufacturers have been trying to make that disc. And really, this is the only one that's come close. And this one came out fairly recently. This is only a couple of years old, this Wraith. Grace. But again, it's a little bit faster. The majority of them are a lot heavier. You don't see many 160-gram Grace.
I love it.
Something about this Supreme plastic always ends up heavy. I think the lightest one I've seen is a 168 gram.
Yeah, that for me it frustrates me when I want to throw anything over like a 10-speed. I really do.
You want to cut the weight off.
I do.
Yeah,
I do. I don't
a lot of people
want
do,
I want the weight in my 7 speeds and even 8 speeds and down,
for sure.
but I don't when I get up there. I just don't want that 175 gram.
I agree.
Even though the plastic feels amazing, I don't want it. That's just me.
It's tough. Well, it's tough when you got a heavy disc. You really want to get the effortless distance out of it, like your 150 gram, 12 speeds.
People drink this?
People do drink this. It's
Oh,
kind of
okay.
syrupy. It's kind of orangey.
Oh,
You can see it's
syrupy.
pretty opaque.
I don't know if it's fruity or syrupy, but it's Hefeweizen?
Some kind of hef. Wheat.
That's
Avoid
not a
if you're
Weiss beer.
gluten intolerant.
Well, I came from Minnesota, and that was Heilemann country.
Heilemann,
And
not Leinenkugel.
we used to have beer collections in our day. We would, as kids, as little fellas, the side of the road, like our dads and grandfathers, horribly would just finish a beer and throw it out the window, right?
Sure.
And you could walk down any ditch in the Midwest and have a collection of beer cans that would be the envy of everybody today. It really would. It would just be a smorgasbord of different varieties too. Like it wasn't just one brand
Yeah,
getting thrown
everybody's
out.
drinking and everybody's got their taste.
Everyone was drinking and driving and throwing the beer cans out into the ditch. That was a thing, and yeah, but we Heilemann's, man, they just made everything from Schlitz to Schmidt to Hams to, I mean, it just went on and on and on and on and on.
I've had a Hams.
Yeah, that was all
Wow.
South St. Paul, Minnesota. Yeah, St. Paul, Minnesota. And then a lot of it went to La Crosse, Wisconsin, and it was, when you go up there, if you've ever been to Germany and then you go to Wisconsin and southeast Minnesota, it looks the same because the farms are kept, they're meticulous, and that was really who's more or less, right?
Yeah. Who's
A
running
lot
the
of
show.
lot of Norwegians in Minnesota,
Yeah.
but there's also a lot of Germans in Wisconsin and still parts of Minnesota that yeah, they brought the beer making skills with them, and all the water up there.
Oh yeah.
Land of 10,000 lakes in
That's
Minnesota.
right.
It's more like 12, but
They do say the
Wisconsin.
water is what makes a great beer too. Same with liquor, the base of it.
which is weird because the water up there is full of iron. Bless you.
I wonder if they do a filter.
That's that. That's the Hefeweizen, man. You're drinking. It's like we're in a wheat field,
Yes.
right?
I feel the gluten creeping in.
It's. Are you gluten sensitive?
No, not
Okay,
yet. Maybe
good.
after this.
Yeah, no. I think it's another byproduct that they're putting in that's creating all that. But that's another time.
Yeah, we'll go to the conspiracy podcast for that topic.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, fine.
I honestly don't
Let's
know
not
how
spread
much
the
of
good
this
word.
is going to make it in. I just can't tell right now. But
We've lost a lot of steam.
we've lost steam. We are not funny, sadly. I thought we'd be funnier. I'm just finding these drinks to really go down well right now, and I'm thinking about food and sleep instead of disc. That's not good. So, knowing what we know now about this beer, would we have paired it the same?
Probably not. We'd probably go more like, this is an entry level beer. Let's grab some entry level discs. This is a beer that if you don't like beer, maybe you would drink.
Boom. You nailed it.
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah, I agree with that.
Because
This-
I'm having a hard time now.
Well, but wait. That was our point at the beginning of this. Is that this is sort of a beer for everybody, and this is a disc for everybody.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do I get an amen?
That is,
And what's that one?
that's a grace.
Well, yeah, you picked poorly.
I'll do better next time.
Okay.
Next time we pair alcohol and discs, I'll do some more research, I think.
Okay. In hindsight, what would you have picked?
So let's see. The entry level beer for everybody. Probably EMAC Truth.
Boom. That's what I said.
You did say that,
I
didn't you?
did.
Son of a bitch.
Ah! I know you. If you have ever been to Mexico before, this is an absolutely solid beer. It's called Pacifica. And it's you have it with a lime, without a lime. Either way, it's good.
But it's classy, right?
It's a super classy beer. Goes well with a good Mexican menu. Any Mexican dish, I find this is a great pairing.
It's easy drinking, yet upscale.
It's got a lot of flavor. I'm not a big fan of Coronas. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the popular Mexican beers.
Okay.
This one, Pacifico, Did I say Pacifico?
You did say Pacifica, but that's only
Um,
because we've had 7 beers.
Yeah, 8, 9.
12.
It was a great.
This is so much better than the last beer.
Yeah,
Miles better than the last beer.
yeah, it's a good beer, isn't it?
I feel like I'm more awake now.
Yeah, it's got a lot of. Yeah, it's a lot of flavor, but it's not heavy.
Yeah.
And if you're on vacation, they go down like absolute water. They just do.
Easy to drink, sure.
So that's where we're going with this and pairing it.
With we got a Discmania FD, and then the West Side Discs Stag.
And I think the Stag, for me personally right now, is my favorite disc. I have 3 of them in my bag.
Good.
Yeah.
It's a smooth flyer.
It is wonderful, wonderful to throw. It makes me enjoy the game immensely
Wow.
because I want to see the flight of a disc, and I'm not crazy about having to have discs that don't do that.
Yeah.
But I understand the game, and you're trying to get the best score and all that. But if you're just purely throwing a disc that might need to fade just a little bit at the end, there's nothing better. It pushes farther than a river.
Yeah.
It pushes farther, I think, than my jackalopes. Although my jackalopes can, if I throw them right,
They can stay up there for
they
sure.
can definitely go. But it's in that class of a 9-speed when it's an 8-speed. But to me, it feels like a 9-speed.
What it comes down to is what works and what's consistent for your game, right?
Right.
And when you've experimented with, again, everything under the sun,
Yeah,
but the Stag does the job consistently,
yeah,
stick with the Stag.
yeah.
She works. And I mean, I've seen the beauty of the disc too. Gotten to throw it a few times. For me, it flips up and pushes right, not too hard, but it stays right. It's a really, really nice, smooth turnover shot out of it.
That's my hatchet.
There you go. Okay.
This one for me fights back.
So it has a
So
reliable
the 3
fade.
that I have, one will have that turn on it.
Yeah.
And sort of stay and with just a little bit, and then the other one is so in between, and the other one has a little bit more. My Chameleon Stag fights back the best.
That's my favorite plastic. Well, and that makes sense.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just amazing plastic.
Well,
And I
this
can count
plastic's
on it.
actually the same as the Chameleon. This is what they call the Chroma FD. So I'm sure this one will lean on the more overstable side for an FD.
Which I love in a 7-speed because I don't know why. I just like my 7-speeds to be. I've got my glidey ones with the river,
Mm-hmm.
but I've also got my Discmania FD for that
Reliable push.
getting that job done in wind and
Well, I've seen yours is overstable.
yeah.
It's really overstable,
Yeah.
which is surprising for the reputation that the FD has as kind of a flip up to really, really long range driver.
It flies
Yours
more
is-
like a bonsai.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of a true like fairway. Yep.
Yeah, it wants to fight. It wants to fight you. And I've had that thing, and I've been throwing it hard for a year,
Mm-hmm.
and it still doesn't want to push. It doesn't. It wants to do its job and then
Fade out. Yep.
get down. Yeah. All right, everyone. Now we have to sort of skip forward here because we got battery life we're dealing with.
Yep. We got to move on.
The Voodoo was your pick with
Castoplast, the Castoplast Svea in particular. And the reason for the Voodoo Ranger was because the Voodoo Ranger is pretty well known as a very, very popular on the higher end of the IPA spectrum. And Castoplast is very well known as the higher end of the disc golf plastic spectrum. The plastic is phenomenal. And I picked this particular disc just because it's got my buddy's stamp on it. Shout out to Huntington if you're watching. The Svea is a really fun mid-range. It's a really understable. So it's almost like a forehand replacement for a lot of players. Kind of like the Innova Rolo of how understable this thing is. It will
Really?
push right and stay right.
really.
Yes.
Oh, I always love a disc like that.
Me too.
That is a cool disc. So this is a Paradox, similar. Not as.
Not as understable as a
Okay.
Paradox. There's not much that's as unstable as that, but that is
Right.
pretty unstable. It's more like an uplink for unstable.
Yeah, I see it now.
Oof. Definitely had too much now.
Yeah.
I can't get the air down.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good feeling. So that's your Voodoo Ranger.
That's my Voodoo Ranger pick.
I like it. And then the Natural Light
Should we just pick up the camera and just walk over to the used bin?
was for all the used discs
This is for the trailer park of used discs.
in here. When we're looking this way because there's like 200 discs over here that are used in
At
the used
least.
bin, and another 200 in the back I just saw. And so the Natural Light, the Working Man's.
To all the used and abused discs out there,
Yeah,
thank you.
that's a good pairing. All right, my friend,
Yep.
we got through it.
Yeah.
This
One-
was different.
definitely different, an experiment.
So I'm not sure how this is going to cut up at the end, but we'll try and make it somewhat entertaining. We'll be back next week.
If you made it this far, thank you very much. I know I couldn't have been.
Easy. We're normally a lot funnier than this.
Well, I think we're sober when we do this.
Yeah, but we're funnier. We are.
I've never had this much alcohol before or during recording.
No, well, of course not.
I think I've had 2 beers before recording. That's the most I've ever substanced.
Yeah, well, you're usually coming off a 12-hour shift. So it's just to get you back to normal.
Well, today was a 12-hour shift plus however many beers we had. So
Plus, you're still here.
I like being here.
I know you do, but you're working on a long one. It's almost 11 o'clock. Let's wrap it.
Yep.
See you next year. Have a great, happy new year, everyone.
Bye, guys.